Hi everyone and welcome to the Skamcast, my first visual podcast. My name is Anna. Some of you may know me from my Druck Season 6 reactions, some of you may know me from Tumblr, and some of you may not know me at all, which is fine, because together we are gonna embark in this new journey and we are gonna talk about all things Skamverse related. I'm gonna include all the remakes, including the upcoming ones, and I'm also gonna bring cool guests every week so we can talk about things in a fun, exciting way without biases. Here, I want us to have open, engaging conversations about the Skamverse, so I hope you enjoyed this journey. Next week, we are going to have a very special guest, but this week is just me, so we can get familiar with each other and I can tell you a little bit of what I want to do with this podcast. I have a video in my channel called the Skamverse Q&A if you want to know a little bit about my opinions, and you are free to watch that if you want to know what I think before coming every week to listen to me speak. As for today, I'm going to talk to you about the most recent news on the Skamverse, as well as opinions on what I liked and I didn't like as much in druck Season 6. To start off, I'm very excited about the Latin American remakes. It's going to be super different, but since I'm European and also African, I think a lot of experiences are a little bit interchangeable, and I feel like I will relate to Latin American culture a lot. We've had a lot of European remakes, that's for sure, and of course I wouldn't say no to more, but it's important to have different experiences in the Skamverse. If more European remakes happen, I would like to maybe see a Skam Poland or another Eastern European country, because things are not the same as they are in Central Europe. I related the most to Skam Spania exactly for that reason, because the things were a little bit different than, they are, for example, in Norway. The culture was very close to my own, which is something I really, really liked. So I'm super excited about the remakes, but part of me thinks that I'm going to be watching it mostly due to nostalgia and wanting to see how things are going to be handled, than still needing the Skamverse as much as I needed it before. At the time the OG was airing, I was 19, so I was still part of the target audience, and I saw my own age represented on screen and my own experiences represented on screen. With these new ones, the kids are gonna be like 16, 17 at max, and I don't think I will relate to those stories and themes as much as I do with the remakes now. I keep saying to everybody that we need some Skam or something similar, but university based, because I know like not everybody goes to uni and uni is not like a universal experience, but I feel like having something of the age ranges from like 20 to 28 or 22 to 25 or something along those lines would be very interesting and it would be very needed. Something along those lines, because young adults need some sort of guidance too. Young adults need content for us, because if you think about it, the content that we consume, it's either for teens or content that is for everybody, So there's not a lot of things that are just like catered to young adults. On this kind of genre of like getting to know yourself. Some of us are in uni, some of us only fall in love in university, some of us haven't smoked, drank, or done anything before university. Some of us continue living with our family, some of us are experiencing living by ourselves for the first time. So I think it's interesting to represent that. Like, some of us lost all of our friends and had to start fresh, so this idea that high school is the best time of your life is a very Americanized idea. And I don't even think it's an Americanized idea. I think it's an idea that like media tried to inflict on us, which it's not real at all. I think it would be really cool to have this kind of representation for young adults, like the time of you discovering yourself and trying to become a better person, because for a lot of us that only happens in university, because that's when you become like free to be yourself, to have your own ideas, to represent yourself to other people how you want to be represented. So, I'd really like that, but still, I'm gonna continue watching the remakes, but I don't think I will be as immersed as I am now. Like, I don't think I will be, making reaction videos or engaging with the fandom as much. It might change when it arrives, but I think like my batch is gonna end with the original remakes. We have the one from Chile, the ones from Mexico, and the one from Peru. They are in the works and they are bound to come out this year. And along with that, we have a very sad moment because the original batch of remakes is ending. It will end with the Yasmina's season, and that's why I'm hoping wtfock pulls through and doesn't ruin the season, because I'm tired of seeing the remakes ruining and doing the bare minimum for the Sanas when they are literally the best character, in my opinion. The season is bound to premiere tomorrow, so it's premiering tomorrow at 5:34, which I believe it's the time. It's one of the prayer times tomorrow. So I'm very excited, and I hope all of you have gotten the chance to watch the Q&A that the cast have done. They're amazing, and it made me even more excited about the season, despite the blatant disregard wtfock's team, so production team and writing team, has shown towards people of color last season. Still, the cast deserves my love and my respect, and I'm super, super excited, and I'm super, super happy to finally see Noradari having the praise and recognition that she deserves. We are also waiting on news on who will be the main on Skam France, and I'm still hoping Suku will come back and it will be him. I don't think that will be the case, but I would love if that was the case. We finished Fatu's season almost 2 months ago, and we are still waiting on news of renewal, and if I'm being totally honest, I won't really understand it if the show doesn't get renewed. The same way I didn't really get it when it happened to Austin or Netherlands, I won't get it now. Obviously, Druck has had more seasons than it was initially intended, but I mean, it would hurt because there are so many interesting characters in this new generation, and even if they go another route than what I'm hoping for season 7, if they decide to do someone else other than Ava or Finn or Ishmael for main, it will be fine. Like, I just want them to continue. I mean, it will be fine, except if it is Constantine. I would hate it if he was the main, but I loved season 5 and I loved season 6. Literally some of my favorite seasons on the whole Skamverse, and I hope the potential this generation has doesn't get lost and it doesn't get wasted, because both the characters, stories, and the actors are amazing, and I hope they get the chance to showcase their talent. I'm still happy that I got my black lesbian, because that's what I've been wanting from the Skamverse for a while. But there are a few things about season 6 that I didn't really enjoy. But, I understand some things better now, because the writers and creative team took some time to explain some of the things that happened. And I'm still very grateful for that. Grateful that they took the time to do that. One of my biggest complaints, if you can call it that, is obviously the fact that the episodes for Fatu season were so much shorter than the ones in Nora's. The shorter episodes culminated in some things not making so much sense, and there were things that I felt like were missing. I'm not even counting like the storylines that the team didn't put in because they want to explore it in the future. So, for example, Kumi's stuff with her parents. But it's still like, there were a few times where I felt like a few more minutes in each episode would have made total difference. It felt like some things could have had more room to breathe. But again, the writers explained that they were working non-stop. They didn't have a break from season 5. And like I said multiple times, working on a TV show is hard enough, let alone working on a TV show or a film in the midst of a pandemic. I'm glad that they, decided to take some precautions and did the best to be safe. One of the other things I didn't really like and I didn't understand, um, it was the fact that like Kumi did not stand up for Fatu. So I love the fact that she is a very good friend that stands up for her friends. We stand a queen that stands up for her values and her friends. But the fact is, her loyalty just seems to be with her friends at that point. I just didn't understand because she was seeing Constantine being a terrible person, and even though he was going through some things in his life, that does not justify his behavior. Like it really doesn't. It doesn't justify it. And I've had it. I know I'm being too hard on this character, and is still a teenager, still has room to grow. But I've had it with white men being manipulative and abusive and getting away with it. That's my personal opinion, because we know people like that are older, and this kind of behavior starts growing and growing and growing, and if it doesn't get cut off at the stem straight away, people just become like that. And allowing this sort of behavior, even if in media, without holding it to a critical standpoint, just means that like other people that maybe behave like him will be like, oh no, it's fine, and it's not fine. So I think it's important to make sure that people understand that his behavior is not normal, and it shouldn't be tolerated, either because he's a teenager or whatever. It just shouldn't be tolerated. So I wish that had happened. I wish that there was a scene of Kumi just being like, yo, Constantine, you're not going to speak about her like this or whatever, because it's not nice. It's uncomfortable, and we've seen across the show that Constantine like does a few things that are not okay, even with his friends. Something else that I didn't really like was the treatment of Ava, and this was more in part from the fandom than from the writers themselves. Ava was being seen as a villain when she really wasn't. I think everyone was so like eager to have Fatu and Kumi together, and obviously they had a big fight and they were not speaking with each other and not communicating properly for so long, that everyone took those frustrations down on Ava and subsequently on the Cash Queens. And for me, that's not on. It really isn't. And something I am very like passionate about is making sure that like queer white people understand that just because you are queer, you don't get to be racist. And a lot of the behavior exhibited towards Ava were racist. Even if people didn't do it on purpose, the attitude was there, the being dismissive of a black person was there, and you don't get an excuse just because you like Fatu. You liking one black person doesn't mean you can't be racist towards another person. And that was a lot of what I was seeing. I was seeing people being blatantly racist and excusing it with like, you know, either being a Fatu stan or, you know, oh no, you can't be racist. It's not racism, but the words that they were using, the demeanor that they had was very, very much, you know, sprinkled by racism. So I just hope the fandom understands where their anger is coming from sometimes, and make sure that that anger doesn't cross racism, because it's kind of bad. It's not nice for me to see it as a black queer person that is involved in the fandom. It's really not nice to see it. It's really not nice to have my peers insulting someone that looks like me, you know? So, yeah. Along with that, the whole queer baiting debacle was insane, because to me, a show that has a confirmed lesbian in love with a confirmed bisexual and you know that they are going to be together is not queer baiting anyone. Like, understand what queer baiting is, understand the impact that it has when you say those words, because, you know, using those words and saying stuff like that can be the reason why the show gets cancelled, and I'm pretty sure that's not what you want. So just measure your words a little bit. That's what I feel. Another thing that I really didn't like, and it was just difficult to see was the fact that Fatu didn't get to communicate for so long, and even when it was her turn to complain and talk, she wasn't fully direct on her issues, which made everyone misunderstand her and the conflict to last for so long. I deep down understand it, because sometimes when a person doesn't like to be in the middle of attention, in the center of the conflict, they will have their voices diminished so there's no more conflict. But it was just hard to see, like, even when it was her turn to speak, she was like, nope, I'm not gonna say everything that's going on, and that is just gonna like push it and make the conflict last longer. On the same line as that, I didn't like that Ava was the only one of her friends, including Ishmael, that didn't speak to her. You know, like she should have been the first one. So it was complicated for me to see, because again, the fandom was being racist towards Ava, and the fact that she was the last one to apologize just made her like be seen as the bad friend, and that made it so people that already didn't like her, like the I hate Ava crusaders, had another reason to do that. Because for example, Noha came, she was nice, Maylin came, she was nice. So it's basically like everyone gets to be redeemed for hurting Fatu except Ava. And again, I say that Ava didn't have a lot to apologize, but it was still not like nice. It was something that I didn't really enjoy, and I wish it was handled a little bit better. But you know, it was Hell Week, and in Hell Week, the main gets separated from the people that they love the most, so it makes sense. However, these are very small things in comparison to how much I liked the season, so I'll give it a pass. But that's all for this first episode. I think it was short and sweet, but you can tell me that if you think. I don't want to overwhelm anyone in the first episode, but I'm excited for what's to come. I'm excited for episode 2, and I guarantee you won't want to miss it. If you have something to say about the Skamverse and you want to be part of upcoming episodes, just feel free to drop me a message on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. I would love to have as many voices on this podcast as possible, and I just want to engage with you and, you know, make this as big as it can be. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and be sure to come back here this weekend for the first reaction video to wtfock season 5 and the new episode of Skamcast. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week. Bye!